What is up, YouTube? So we are here with a tier list. I've put a lot of time in these characters. I think I have a good understanding about what they want to do. I have a good understanding about how the early game works and how these characters really get a lot of their power bonuses. I would say how strong they get, whether they get a good level lead or not. But let's get started. So right now we have our tiers. We have God tier, we have S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. I don't think any characters are in D tier. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't think any of these characters are unusable. I just think early game really matters in this game, where if you're under leveled, you just get destroyed, and if you don't understand how to farm and last hit, I think that's a big deal, right? And I think some of these characters just stand out above the rest. I think our first hero right here is Gamma. Gamma 1, Gamma 2 are broken. I think they are really good having a character with two different health bars, so even you can run away, right? So you got to be careful when trying to KO him, because if you've only knocked out the one, he can get away with the two, no problem. He'll come back and just start putting damage in. He has really good secure early game. I think the problem with him, though, if he does get caught out, it's kind of over, right? Because once you knock out one Gamma, a lot of their abilities are completely diminished. It's not as strong, and I think that's a good way of balancing it. But I think this hero is disgusting. I think it does a lot of damage. Potentially might even have to be nerfed. I think it's so strong, right? Its ult, its pose has changed. Its damage. It's disgusting. I think this is an S tier carry. I think it's really good, and if you put some time into it, I think you'll be rewarded for sure. Trunks is S tier. I'm gonna tell you why Trunks is S tier. I think he has the highest burst damage. I think his secure is disgusting. He has vanishing step, and his R1 and R2 are very good, right? His both skill 1 and skill 2 are very strong. I think he can just out secure just about any of the DPSs. I think his early game's really good. The problem with him is that if you are behind, just like a lot of these damages, if you get behind your early game and you're not securing farm, and the other team is just out securing you, they're knocking you out. I think he gets really hard, but someone who's competent with Trunks, I think understands that, when you take on a 1v2, I think he's very strong. His passive kicks in, right, where, he can use a skill again, right, even on cooldown. So, like, when you vanish step, poke him with your skill 1, then going back vanish step, you do absurd amount of damage. I think the only thing bad about his kit is that little fire blast, his skill 3, I think is not very good. I think it needs to be reworked. I don't think it's that strong. It's just a little poke. I don't think it's good enough, though. But I think because of his secure and his early game, I think Trunk is probably one of the best heroes. I think that he just controls the map early, and he's super strong. Goku, A tier. Everyone gets him. He does have some good secure early game, right? Like, he's very strong. And I think Kamehameha is really good, especially after you have locked Kaioken, right? Really, really strong. I think he's a very, very solid character. I think with him, though, he does get kind of beat apart in the beginning, right? Like, he's not that strong. I mean, he's got some good secure, but can get caught out pretty easily. But I think he's an A-tier character. I think he's very strong. But I don't think he does better than these two, honestly. I don't think when you compare damages to damages, I think Goku is just A tier. I think he's a very strong, above average, but I think there are better characters. Dabura is my boy. That is my favorite. I'm going to try to do my best and not be biased with him. I think he's very strong. He doesn't have the best secure, but when you team him up with some of these heroes, he gets disgusting. I think right now we're seeing a lot of people play him, but they don't understand that you have to combo him properly, because it's all about him turning everyone to stone. When, like, really getting that gauge online, understanding that you're going to flame him to slow him down, and then you're going to hit him with the ray, and then when they're trying to leave, you're going to hit him with the spear so that they can't vanish, right? And then his ult is okay. I don't think it's that great. The only kind of use I've seen with his ult is especially when you turn him to stone, or you're taking on multiple people, because it fills your gauge up quicker. But his passive makes up for the fact that he can 1v2 people. He's very good. And if you use Ray to secure, right, Doom's Ray, I think it's very, very strong. I think he's very good, solid character. He might even be up there with Goku, like better, right? He could be better, but I think they're both pretty good. They just have, Goku has a better secure, right, than I would say Dabura. Kale's B. No, Kale's A. The problem with Kale is that she's incredibly team reliant. All right, you're really at the beck and call of your lane partner. If you catch her by herself, she is very weak. She can get knocked out very easily. But I like how they've kind of made it to where her ult makes her go into this monster and does absurd amount of damage. But the problem is, if your early game isn't strong, she doesn't have that great of secure, but it's strong enough. But the issue is, like I said, if you catch her out, I mean, it's kind of easy to take her out. Her HP is pretty low when she's not, Super Saiyan Kale, when she goes berserk. But I think she's all right. I think she's very strong if you understand how to do team play, right? And understand that you need to go for objectives with your teammate. Very strong. Piccolo, B tier. That's all I can really say. The good thing about Piccolo is Piccolo's secure is very good. Special beam cannon, you sit in a bush, and as your opponents are, knocking out the bosses, you can just steal for free. I think that is the one good thing about him. His early game is not the best. I don't think it's that strong. He's a ranged kind of DPS. I think he's good. But the problem is, I think he falls off mid to late game, right? Like, yeah, he's okay if he gets a level lead, but when you start complimenting some of these like technical characters, he just gets kind of destroyed, right? Like he's all right. I think a good Piccolo can do fine. I think they're all great. I think all the DPSs are very strong. But I think if you're going to pick early game, I'd go for really good secure. His secure is good, but it's not going to be better than Trunks or like Gamma 1, Gamma 2, right? Like all these right here do absurd amounts of damage early and pretty quick. This one, he's all right. I think he's just a run-of-the-mill kind of damage character, right? Same thing with Bojack. Bojack is good. His skills are a little blocky, right? And kind of weird. He puts the mind thing, which isn't that good. I mean, if you're playing against some bad people, I mean, people will play into it. But I don't think it's strong, right? Like his secure's all right. Not bad. His R1's pretty good. His ult is kind of bulky. I'm not the biggest fan of it because you can just vanish step behind him, right? And then just do ridiculous amounts of damage. He's kind of like a sitting duck. Very strong, though, right? Like a ranged DPS. He can sit back and pour down the damage, but I don't think he's stronger than these, right? I think he's up there. Maybe you can make a conversation about A tier. Maybe. I've seen some good Bojacks, but he's also to the point where your lane partner is going to have to take a lot of the damage while he sits back and just pours the damage in. He's okay. He's not bad. I think he's very solid. I think with any of these, you can easily tear up a lane, but he's all right, right? His ult is okay. It's very telegraphed, but right there would be, I think he's very solid. Oob, same thing. Oob is okay. Oob doesn't have the best secure. I think late game, he starts to kind of get up in A, right? When you have a level lead. But I don't think he's strong enough to sit there and say that he can 1v1 these any of these. I don't think he's strong enough. A good Trunks or good Gamma is just going to one-piece this thing up and down every lane. He's strong. Very solid. You get a good level lead. When you start partnering him up with some of the tanks and like some of the technical heroes, I think they're good. But he's all right. He's okay. I don't think he's that strong. Same thing with Android 18. Now, during the beta, she was disgusting. I think she did too much damage, if I'm going to be honest with you. But I don't think it was to the point where, she kind of deserved the nerf she did. She's high mobility, right? Like, if you're a person who likes the high mobility characters, I think she's strong. Her secure's not the greatest. I would have to say the nerfs hurt her quite a bit. I've seen people be really good with her with A, but I think she's run-of-the-mill, right? Like, I would rather have any of these characters kind of as my laning partner over an Android 18, right? I think, like I said, the nerfs hurt her too much. Super strong. Now, Goku. Sorry to any of the mini Goku mains, but I think this character is such high skill ceiling that it gets to the point where he becomes a liability more than he becomes like anything strong, in my opinion. He's very technical, using the bombs correctly, and just he doesn't have good secure early, right? So like this thing, he can just get out farmed, and if he gets out farmed and he's not high level, he doesn't do damage. And I think he's a liability. I think he's huge. I think if you're really good with him, you're insane. I think you're better than all these characters. But the problem is my teammates are never that good. So I think that wraps up the damage, right? So as we kind of look at our damage, I think this is about right. Of course, I might get a comment about someone saying Android 18's busted. I don't see that many of her. When even I played her, I thought she was okay. I didn't think she was like insane or anything, but anytime I have these laning partners or I play them, I just get insane damage numbers, right? Like they're just so good at securing. And when you starve the opponent team, the opposite team, I think that's a good value. That's a good exchange other than like mobility, which a lot of these characters either suffer from or have, right? All right. Our technical characters. Now, these ones, they're a little more skill dependent. I think some just stand above the rest. I think they're pretty good, but clearly others outshine them, right? So, like when we look at Frieza's B. Very telegraphed, very bulky character. The minion she spawns, like Dabura, is disgusting because people would just walk into her. You could just place Dabura, no, not Dabura, the pink guy. You just place him on like a god of destruction, and like no one can really score because it's just sitting there headbutting you the whole time. I think the other one's pretty good. The one thing I will say about Frieza is her ult isn't that great, but she can get in and out of battle quickly, right? She can just zoom out, constantly stay alive. But she's more of kind of like the same thing with Kale, right? Like she's very team dependent, very lane. Does not have good secure, right? You can out secure Frieza all day. It has no upfront damage. I think the utility it provides is pretty good, but I think there are just technical heroes that outplay it, to be honest with you. Like Krillin. Krillin's S tier to me. Krillin's disgusting. His traps, the solar flare gets annoying because you can't even damage people in it for some reason. It's gross, especially if you have a good lane partner, right? Like you can just solar flare and let your lane partner just secure all of the farm, right? Super good. I think having a Krillin is great. It even does a lot of damage. You just put traps on your gods of destruction and in bushes, and it also like marks them so the whole team can see him. It's insane. I think Krillin's S tier. I think he's too good. Same thing with Gohan. Son Gohan is disgusting. His skill 3 is really strong, right? Like creating a barrier. He even does that like headbutt, like skill 2, super strong. I think it's underrated. It even like makes him like silence, and they can't do anything when he's hit. And he even has a good secure, right? His ult is a little weird. Because like you'll hit it and then your moves are empowered and then you get the big, explosion and everything. But the value he gives your team is so good. I think he's so strong. He might even receive a nerf. He's so good. So I think you can never go wrong with learning Gohan. I think he's super strong. If you understand what your lane partner is doing, it gets even better, right? Like I still think Android 17 is up there, right? When we're talking about good technical players, Android 17 will get you out of so many kind of fights that it's disgusting, right? Like he just puts a shield, he saves your teammates. His secure is pretty good, right? Even his passive's really strong, which you can use moves on cooldown, kind of like Trunks. The only reason why he's not S, in my opinion, right? Excuse me, is that I don't think he does enough like a Goku or a Krillin to sit there and say that he's S tier. But I think A tier is very fair for him. I think he's super strong and not a bad character to learn. Like I think you could really carry games with Android 17. His utility is up there. I just think a Gohan or a Krillin is better early, right? Boo. This one's hard because Boo is kind of one of those single target healers, right? And as you level it up, you can heal multiple teammates, right? You can create this chain that's disgusting. But your Boo that's going to be on your team is going to be B tier. I think he's super good, especially early, right? Like when you're trying to, secure farm and you have those early fights early in the game, I think he's really good, right? Just start healing. And what a lot of people don't do is utilize his passive enough, right? Because his passive is after he's done healing or he hits you with the gum or anything like that, like stuns you, his rush attacks become empowered, right? So you can kind of bounce that. Where, you gum them, you're just constantly rush, you have the speed, then you heal your people, then, you have even more damage, and then you just go run up on. He can run up on you pretty quick. He can actually use that ready go, like that run, and start bouncing you into like your own god of destruction, and that does disgusting damage. So super good. He can also bump opponents off of objectives even better, right? He can just isolate characters, and I think he's very strong, but I don't think people utilize him enough. I don't think people understand that he's a healer. He's not a damage dealer, but super good. I think if you have a Boo early game and they know what they're doing. Hit C tier. I'm going to tell you why I hit a C tier. Hit doesn't provide as much value as I would say an Android 17, a Krillin, a Gohan, even a Boo, because he's more of this like assassin-y kind of character. Now, I think if you're broken, I mean, hit's up here, right? If you're a really good hit, I think hit is disgusting. But the problem is, when you're going up against a lane that has better secure than you, with two heroes that can just isolate hit, like hit can counter, like, Bojack and stuff, right? Get behind him. It's easy. It's very, Bojack's very telegraphed. Same thing with a lot of these heroes. But the problem is he's such a high skill ceiling, kind of with mini Goku, where his value isn't there unless you are just broken, unless you are just some crazy carry. Other than that, his kit's very strong, right? Like he can just get out of fights. He's hit and run. He's not like a sustained like DPS or like any of these who provide value plus damage, right? He's very good, but he requires a very high skill ceiling. So that's kind of our wrap up on the technical, right? I think this is pretty good. You'll see a lot of these early game, a lot of these picks. And who's to say, like, Mini Goku and Hit, they're very good characters, but the problem is they don't provide value like some of these other heroes. I would rather have a Boo than a Hit sometimes, to be honest with you. So let's go ahead and go to our defenders, which I think is probably the most favored class, honestly. It's so hard to find a match when you're looking for tanks. But let's start with Baby. Baby's A. Let's not even talk about it. I think he's too good. His utility's up there. He's hard to eliminate. I would say this. He's very hard to kill. He can just do the possession, start healing your teammates. The problem with Baby is your teammates and your laning partners don't understand that when you possess them, you start to kind of heal them, so they always run away, right? They're always doing that. They're running away. They're not staying in the battle. So he loses some utility, but overall his kit is super strong. You can push enemies off of Gods of Destruction. You can sit there, and his secure is strong, I would say. His ultimate's disgusting, especially in a team fight, right? He just stays alive. He's just like this kind of brawling tank, and I think he's very strong. I think he's worth the time to put in to learn him, but I think you just need a really good laning partner, and I think he just becomes broken, right? Like S tier. They did nerf him, which did hurt. You do feel that in the damage, but he was a tank doing way too much damage. But I think he's at a good sweet spot. Potential maybe, but nerf, but I don't think we'll see it. I think he's very balanced for the most part, very strong, especially someone who understands how to lane properly. Very, very good. Zamasu. I think he's good. I'm gonna put him in B tier. I don't think he deserves higher than that, and I'll say why. He doesn't have any kind of stuns. He doesn't have like this kind of utility. He's just out there. He can regenerate and he's hard to kill. But I think in the tank role, there are some tanks that are just better, that just stay alive and just can't be killed, and that they're super strong. Not to say that you can't be a good Zamasu, but I think that he doesn't offer the utility that the other tanks offer. But other than that, very strong. I've seen some very good Zamasus. I think they're good, but he's just outclassed, especially when you compare the other tanks, right? Like Khalifa. I think Khalifa's A. And I'll tell you why I think Khalifa A is not only because I really like her, but and her special armors are so cool. Her outfit's awesome. But I think she offers a lot of utility, right? She can chase down, right? Her skill 2 is very strong, right? You send that bolt, you jump to her, and you jump to the enemy. I think she's hard. She's hard to kill. She's pretty tanky. I think she also has some really good team play. She can do a lot. Her ult's okay. I don't think it's anything to write home about, but I would much rather have a Khalifa than a Zamasu, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think she's as good as Baby because Baby offers more utility, but Khalifa's still strong. I think her early game is really strong. I think she's overall a very strong tank, right up there, right? Cooler, S tier. Cooler is disgusting. Cooler is too hard to kill. If he gets a level lead, it's over. He doesn't die. Has some really good secure. He even has like a stun where he picks you up and slams you, right? I think that's a skill 2 or skill 3. Very strong. I think he is the best tank in the game. I think he's too hard to kill. He needs a nerf. He's too strong. He's too good, right? He just can't die. I always have a problem with him when I see a cooler on the team. I'm not very happy because if your lane partners don't shut him down, I think he becomes a tyrant the whole game, right? He's disgusting, especially when you team him up with like a Boo or something. He's unbeatable. He's disgusting, and I think he's a problem. But I think he is one of the best tanks in the entire game, hands down. There is no question. Vegeta, he got hurt a little bit, I think. I think he's good. I think he's strong, but he's definitely, I would say, A tier. I don't think any tank is that bad. Vegeta's good. Vegeta stays alive. His skills are pretty strong. I would say he does offer some utility, especially when you want to keep people in place, right? That I think it's like art. I think it's his skill too. That does that. It's a big explosion and like keeps him there. Really strong, especially if you have a good lane partner. He doesn't have the best secure, right? Like I think Khalifa has better secure. Cooler has better secure than Vegeta, but Vegeta stays alive. I think he's very strong, especially with a good lane partner. I keep emphasizing lane partners because a tank is good, but a tank is only as good as your damage or your technical, right? He can 1v2, especially gets a level lead. You know, he's very, very strong. His ult is good. It has a very big AoE. But like I said, I don't think he's better than like a baby or like a Khalifa in my opinion. That's just my opinion. And then Cell. I think Cell is very favorited. There's a lot of problems with Cell though. Cell for me is in the B tier, and I'll tell you why. His regeneration, I don't think anyone, unless they play into it, like if you have a whole opposing team playing into the fact that you're charging up and then, you know, healing, I think he's great. I think he's like S tier. But I'm gonna be real with you. Any competent player is not playing into that. Even his ult is pretty good, but the problem with his ult is if you lock in somebody who is over leveled, they're just gonna mop you in your own little cell games. To be honest with you, I think he's very good, but he requires someone who understands the laning phase. I think he requires a very strong lane partner. I think he requires a lot up front, but he's very good. I think he's good in the right hands. I could see him being A tier, right up here with the other tanks. But I think he's right there in line with Zamasu. I think they're both very strong. They're both like kind of brawling, regenerative tanks, but they don't hold the value of like a baby, right? That can just possess a cooler that doesn't die. Khalifa, who has probably better secure than both of them. I think they're very good. I'd rather have a Vegeta sometimes than a Cell. But I think B tier is fine. I think all these characters that are in the B tier are good. But the problem is you're gonna have to have some skill and understand your laning phase very well, right? Well, I think there's time to crown our god tier, right? Who's the best character of this whole game? And I don't know if you can guess it. Cooler. Cooler is the best character in the game. I think he's so good. He's I can't say enough about him. I think he needs a nerf. I don't think they hit him hard enough. Unkillable monster. If you understand laning phase and you can go through it and just get all the last hits and secure all the farm, I think he's the most disgusting character in the game. Once he gets like 12 and 13, he's unstoppable. He cannot be killed. His ult is really good. There's so many good things to say about Cooler that he kind of makes every other tank work just look terrible. I think he's too good. And I think he's god tier. I think he is one of the best heroes in the entire game. I don't think there's anyone who even stands close because he can even out damage some of these damages. He's that good. I think he's that strong. And I mean, he deserves the god tier. And so that being said, how do you feel about this tier list? Do you think Piccolo deserves a higher position? Let me know. But I think this is solid. And to be fair, you can be broken with any of these characters and do well. But if you don't understand the laning phase and how secures work, I think some of these characters just fall off. So let me know. You know, leave a like and a comment. How do you feel this tier list is, right? Well, what is your main? Are you a cracked 18? Well, let me know. You know, and with that being said, I'll see you. Peace.